Oh hey, didn't see you there. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the video. Today I have a good one for you because today's my last day being 26. I'm 27 tomorrow. I'm kind of butthurt about it, to be honest, because my 26th year of existence has been a banger. Like, it literally has been the best one yet. The circumstances of how it became the best one yet is not what I would have expected, going into it this time last year, but we're here now, so I'm running with it, and I'm grateful. And I'm also grateful that I have the opportunity to chat about it with you guys today. I have my childhood home to myself at the moment. I don't have a whole lot of energy, and I'm not saying that as a cope. I was at a bachelor party this past weekend, so I'm running on fumes, and it wasn't even anything like insane, but we were up late every day, so yeah. But you know what they say, do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it, and that's what we're doing today. But this isn't exactly hard per se. I'm just being a bitch. But with that being said, let's get into it. I actually wrote everything out for you guys in my journal because it's better to reinforce the ideas, and then I have like the notes to keep coming back to, so enough filler. The first one is, take nothing in life for granted. Everything you have today can be gone tomorrow. This one stems from being laid off 100%. Like, before I was laid off, I was making good money. I had just set up my life such that my expenses were significantly reduced. I gave up my apartment, I moved back in with my folks, and that means a lot less rent, able to cover my student loans, able to travel without really caring about extra money spent there. At the time, I was looking into 2 trips and then, just work. But then I was laid off and I lost everything. Like, it was a super surreal moment that I'll never forget, because that is literally what happened to me. That being said, like, I was never spiteful or emotional or reactive in a negative way towards my old company, but like, literally everything you have now can be gone tomorrow, so you really got to learn to appreciate everything and appreciate the little things. And that also stems for like relationships with people, right? Like friends and family, because as I'm getting older, I 100% acknowledge the whole trope of not having as much time for other people as you get older, because it's happening to me in real time. Friends that used to be almost a daily part of my life through high school and college, I'm lucky to see a handful of times a year. And then family too, like my sister's moved away. I live with my folks at the moment, so I see them, but I may be moving away far soon. And even if I were to get a place nearby, I wouldn't be seeing them all the time. So yeah, you gotta cherish everything. You really gotta cherish your time with friends and family. At the bachelor party this weekend, the groom, my former suite mate from college, like, I lived with them for 2 years, and then I switched schools. But like, during those 2 years, like, we lived together, we hung out all the time. And then since then, during my final 2.5 years of college, I visited him in Connecticut, where we went to school together. But that was like maybe like 4 or 5 times, and then since then we saw each other a couple times a year, if that. And then, but this time I haven't seen him since 2021. It's insane. It's insane how much time can go by when you're just living life. So if you're watching this video as someone who's younger, who's like still in school, 100% just like take everything in, try to enjoy it. Obviously you have to do a level of work to succeed. So, keep doing everything you gotta do, study, get good grades, etc. But like, you also want to enjoy your time with your friends. You'll never know when it'll be like the last time that you get to see them for X amount of years. It's crazy. But that being said, it makes me value friends like my former suite mate that much more, because seeing him after 3 years was like there was no time in between, which that's how you know it's a real. Yeah, appreciate what you got, guys. Don't take anything in your life for granted. But that's a nice segue for time is the most valuable thing that you have. That's another lesson that I keep going back to. It's so important to spend the time that we have wisely and not waste it. And I'm especially speaking to myself here, because I've spent my time wisely to some extent, right? I've been able to take advantage of having the time and freedom to travel this year a lot, which has been awesome, and I'm like amazingly grateful for that. But also just day to day of normal life. Lately, I find myself struggling with a crippling social media addiction, and I'm not doing the work that I need to be doing on a day-to-day basis. when I'm, you know, here and not traveling and shit like that. So it's something that I acknowledge, but it's something I really need to fix. And I'm sure a lot of people go through the same shit. Something I've realized is that my whole procrastination mantra that I used to struggle with when I was in college never really left. It keeps rearing its ugly head whenever I'm trying to work on something. Which is why I've started filming this video instead of finishing the freaking travel vlog that I wanted you guys to see. To buy myself more time. But not only that, right? Like the timing of my birthday and everything lined up where I can literally release this on my birthday. So that's cool, but like time is the most valuable thing you have. You only have so much time and energy to put towards the things that are gonna have the biggest returns. Whether it's some kind of a skill that can make you good money or just time with loved ones. You know, it's both. I would honestly put both as being like super important. And if you already have your money figured out, then that means more time to invest into loved ones and relationships and whatnot. So just, you really gotta treasure it. You only have so much time to be alive. You never know when you're living your last day, you know? Not to get too dark, but it's true. The next lesson that I learned this year is that the influencers were right about, you know, having a side income or a side hustle. Honestly, like, I don't even have a specific influencer in mind when I'm saying this, but it's 100% something I've heard multiple times. And it really resonated with me in the moment when I was laid off, I'll say that. Up until that point, you know, like all of last year, I was working on my side hustle. I was developing my skill in photography and content creation, and Spanish, but that's not a monetary skill per se. So photography and content creation, I was working on all last year, but I wasn't really making money from it. So like, if I was at a point where that was like bringing me good money on the side, then I wouldn't have been essentially shitting myself as bad when I was laid off. You can be the best employee in the world, and there's still a probability that you could get laid off and let go. And it's not even like in your control per se, you know? It's just a low risk, I would say, for most people. But then again, in like really severe like economic situations that I haven't even lived through, right? Like the most severe economic downturn that I lived through was the 2008 financial crash, which I don't even really remember because I was freaking young. It was 2008. And then COVID, I suppose, because of the global shutdowns. But I never got let go, and I was able to work remotely. That's when my former company first let us go remotely. So I haven't even experienced anything like crazy, thank God. But with the way things are going now, like, it just reinforces the point that it's really important to have multiple skills in your arsenal to bring yourself income, like skills that like you don't necessarily hate utilizing. At this moment in time, if I found myself like homeless per se, the only job that I could get like this, like very, very quickly, would be serving or being a cashier or something like that. But that's not going to be a job that would like allow me to live well, for one, but for two, make enough money to survive. I mean, or maybe I'd be able to survive, but it would like literally be paycheck to paycheck and like no benefits and stuff like that. So it would be not an ideal situation. Getting a job in tech takes time. At least for me, it takes time. Like the interview process and everything, there's no guarantee. It just takes time. It's something you gotta account for in your day-to-day. Make sure you're investing the time into learning the skills that you want to learn, such that you will be able to survive financially without hating yourself. You know, or at least like hating your life day to day. That's something I'm grateful that for the most part I've done. If I'm able to get another job in tech, I know that I won't be hating myself. Well, at least I hope I won't be hating myself, but like, because there were moments where I wasn't a fan of what I was doing, but that was a few years ago. So moving on. Hey, actually that's a good segue for learn to love the process such that you will be able to progress and like just in general, you'll be able to progress. If you enjoy the process of learning something new or just your day-to-day life, right? You know, you're doing something that you feel like the return on every day and you'll feel yourself improving. I really felt this one last year when I got into almost a flow schedule with like learning Spanish, because I was on Pimsleur, who aren't sponsoring this or anything, but I was on Pimsleur learning Spanish almost every day for 30 minutes. Not every day, but almost every day for 30 minutes. And then obviously Duolingo too, but that's like barely reinforcive. So I felt the return on learning Spanish because I'm able to speak it relatively well now. Pimsleur, at least in my experience, doesn't lend itself as well to being able to understand when someone is speaking to you, but it does help coach you with like being able to speak relatively well, which is interesting because, you know, as I've traveled this year through Spanish-speaking countries, I've been able to speak pretty well, but then when people speak back to me, I'm like, what? ¿Qué? No entiendo. So, it's fun. But, you know, I really loved that process. It gave me an excuse to go outside, assuming it wasn't like super cold or some shit. It gave me an excuse to go outside, walk around, go downtown, maybe get food, whatever, you know. It was cool. I really like loved the process, and that helped me to improve. Along the same lines, it's good to learn to love the process, especially with fitness. If you're still at like the beginning of getting into the gym and like learning how to do everything, or even just being active in general, you know, it doesn't have to be lifting. You could be rock climbing, you could be hiking, you could be going for a walk. Like, you gotta find the thing that you love to do, because then you can stick with it and then just keep at it, and you know, before you know it, boom, you're down 10 pounds. Whatever it might be, you know. I hope that helps you guys. If you've been a viewer of my channel and you're not new, this one probably is gonna be a surprise. Travel, travel, travel. I can't say it enough. Traveling is probably my greatest passion in life at this point. I understand it's 100% a privilege. You have to have a layer of financial success in life to be able to travel, period. But it's really eye-opening and life-changing, for sure. And then the whole cliche about like, oh, you really learn a lot about yourself through traveling, it's true. Every trip that I've been on, I learned something new about myself. For example, this year I went to Thailand and I had an amazing time. I met great people and I made amazing memories, but I don't really want to go back to Thailand to just like fuck around per se. It was just a once in a lifetime trip. And I'm grateful for the memories. I'm grateful for the people I met. But after like my third week there, or during my third week there, you know, I was struggling to keep myself busy because by this point I was on my own, I was solo traveling, and I was just like, you know what? I'm not really vibing here, and I'm ready to go home, and I don't really feel like I have a purpose for being here at this point, and I want to get back to work. That was literally my mindset for like most of the time that I was in Koh Samui. I did have like a handful of like awesome moments when I was in Koh Samui. I got to meet Sam Harborn, Harbinator, one of Hamza's former video editors. Super cool guy. He introduced me to a couple other cool guys, and we basically just hung out, and I like took pictures the whole time for them. So it was really awesome. I also got to hike a cool spot, or a couple cool spots in Koh Samui, so that's cool. But as I said, I still overall felt like I was super ready to go home. So, but that being said, you know, traveling is an amazing way to get yourself out of your comfort zone and like learn new things and just experience different like aspects of life through like different cultures. My trip to India in 2020, before the pandemic kicked in, was probably the most severe culture shock I've experienced. But like, I say that in a good way because India was an amazing time and an unforgettable experience. Yeah, if you're younger, if you can save up like 5 or 10K, like I say that so casually, so I don't mean to sound like an asshole, but like, I mean, if you're able to do it and like take 6 months off to travel, do it. You gotta do it. It'll be an amazing time. Some girl that I met in Thailand has returned to Thailand, but not just Thailand, but she's going through all of Southeast Asia right now, and I'm just like, I'm so happy for her. She's younger than me. She's like, I think she's like 21 or 22 or some shit, but like, I'm like, I love to see that shit. It's amazing. I really hope if you're watching this and you're able to do something like that, you should do it. I don't know if I'm ever going to make it to Southeast Asia to backpack. If I return to Thailand, it's going to be for a herping trip, or to see like, you know, national parks, to see tigers or some shit, I don't know. But like, you gotta backpack, so Thailand or some shit, or you gotta travel as much as you can when you're younger. Like, every trip that I've been on this year, I almost treated it like I'm not gonna be able to do this forever, or at the same time, like there's no guarantee that I'll be able to do this at any other time in my life. So I just kind of like full fucking send into every experience. So yeah, but okay, yeah, that's just an excuse to ramble about traveling. Alright guys, we're at the home stretch. I'm gonna check to see where we're at time-wise, because I don't want this video to end before I frickin' am prepared. So, hell yeah, 10 minutes left. So, I got 2 more bullets. We're in the home stretch. So the first one is, as someone who's been single for 7 years, over 7 years now, dating has become more challenging, but not for the reasons you would expect. It's because I'm almost too comfortable in my independence to open up to girls properly, like in a emotionally intimate way. And what the hell do I mean by that? So like, this is the first year where I really had consistent success with dating, but like the type of success that I really wanted. You know, I'm dating girls I'm like super into, and just like have fun and enjoy the process, and I'm like excited to meet these girls, you know. Granted, that was mostly because I was in different countries and I was like the foreigner, so that makes it a more favorable experience for me, right? Like, I almost have leverage, I guess. But that being said, the energy here when I've dated has been like so different. Like, over the last year, I've only dated one girl here stateside who I was hoping things would progress favorably for me, but they did not. And she was Brazilian. so like, that was like and that was like back in like December, I believe. So yeah, like other than her, like I haven't really met anyone I've wanted to like, actually no, that's a lie. I also met a girl back in August of last year. So exactly a year ago, I dated just your average white chick that I met at a Bumble social. I didn't realize this, but like Bumble hosts little like socials for people to like mix it to date essentially. So like a friend of mine convinced me to go, and I met this chick last year, and that never went anywhere because she ended up ghosting me, to be blunt. But those are the only two over the last year where I was like super into them and it didn't work out. But this year things were different. There were more than 2 girls I dated that I was into. Things were way more favorable for me, and it's made me really think about what I want longer term out of a relationship. And it's crazy, like, because when I was younger, I thought dating was hard, but for different reasons, right? Like, it was coming from a scarcity mindset. I was just genuinely like struggling out there. I'd go years without getting laid or even going on dates or anything. And you know, like there was a scarcity thing, but also being hung up on the wrong girl for too long and stuff like that. And I was a mess. Younger me was kind of a mess with dating, but it's the truth. I can't lie to you guys. But all that to say, now I'm like so, I don't want to say like hyper independent, but just like pretty content. Like I don't really feel like I need a girl right now. You know, if it happens, it happens. But like I'm otherwise chilling, and I mean, I hope to settle down and like find a serious relationship before I'm 30. But you know, there's no guarantee, and now I'm just like more fixated on the things that I want to accomplish and do before certain things happen. Like obviously I recognize that like dating does get a little bit harder as you get older, but I never really thought I'd get at a point where I'm almost like too comfortable to like entertain dating. You know, like I'm in my own peace, and it's not coming from a place of resentment, because I love having girls in my life, whether or not it's like, you know, someone I'm dating or just like, you know, a couple platonic girlfriends. Like I think it's super valuable to have, and it's definitely, the right girl is 100% an asset to your life. And I'm horrified of ending up in a situation where the girl that I date would like prevent me from doing things I wanted to do, but like at the same time that's irrational, because if I was dating her, she wouldn't do that to me. So I get my own head about things like that all the time. If you find yourself independent and you're watching this, as a guy or a girl, and you're like hyper independent, you're like, you know, on your Sigma male grind or whatever, like maybe you can relate to this, you know, and just not really feeling like you need to date anyone else. But I'd like to think it's a good thing, because it means you're not like dating anyone out of like desperation, or like even, God forbid, settling for someone or something, or some aspect of your life. Let me know what you guys think of that. Alright guys, we're in the home stretch again. We're down to a few more minutes here. The last point I wanted to go over is that you only have so much time in your life to take calculated risks before it becomes significantly more challenging. Alright, hold on guys, my camera's about to die. this is something I'm kind of going through right now because I might be able to have the opportunity to relocate in pursuit of a job. So I'm still weighing out the pros and cons for that one, but I'm realizing that, like, on the other end of this decision, you know, like, I'm already almost 27, like less than 12 hours from now I'm gonna be 27, so like there's not gonna be a time where I'll be able to take the leap like this. Like, there may not be another time for me to be able to take the leap like this, right? Like, you know, as I'm getting older, you know, I will have more responsibilities and stuff, whether it be in the form of family, you know, like kids, girlfriend, taking care of my parents, God willing, when they're older and stuff like that. So there will become a time where I'll have to play things more safe and not just like kind of dive into things. You know, everyone's situation is different. You're not going to be able to just do anything insane, but historically I've looked at people like Christian LeBlanc or Josh Goovy, who are both travel influencers who full stop quit their 9-to-5s without really having any kind of a plan other than to travel and document it. And not saying I'm going to do that anytime soon or at all, because I don't know if that is for me, but being able to do something crazy like that on a similar caliber, that opportunity isn't always going to be there. And like, I think it's great to see people that are like younger or roughly my age traveling, you know, relating it back to full stop travel. I think that's really cool. And being able to travel longer term is in itself kind of a calculated risk of some kind. And in itself, right, like, traveling can be a bit of a calculated risk, whether you're trying to be like an influencer or just travel to travel, right? But even outside of that, just doing something crazy to change your life. But I'm here for it, though. I'm here for the calculated risks. And as someone who's like approaching his late 20s, who's basically in his late 20s, like, the clock isn't going to stop on my behalf. So that's why I realized that, like, up until this point in my life, I have been kind of taking things safely overall, right? Like, I chose a relatively stable career up until this point and just never really leaving my hometown for a serious period of time. Traveling is one thing, but like living in a new place is another, and opportunities like this don't come along very often. So yeah, if you're at a point in your life where you are able to take a calculated risk without doing anything super brash or to set yourself back, I highly recommend it, because you never know what's going to happen on the other end of it. So that being said, guys, you know, this last point I've tried to record a few times, but my camera ran out of battery, so I had to wait for it to charge. But I hope you enjoyed this version of the video, right? Like, I'm outside right now. It's been a beautiful day. I had to take advantage. I had the house to myself today, so I recorded this video. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you're having a fantastic day. If you have any feedback or comments, let me know. I'm really hoping this video does better than the last couple that I put out along the same lines of, you know, lessons learned at X age. But anyways, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.